Biz on the track.
S.V.D.L on the beat.
How you supposed to have light if you got solar missing? Everything seem bright with solar vision. A whole court with witness, nobody noticed missing. I'm my own judge, jury, and the co-defendant. It ain't an idol with the solar image. Get to the core, my nigga, no pretending. Hotter than Jamie Foxx on a solar mission. Melchizedek, no beginning nor an ending. Ain't no need to study long if you gon' study wrong. Got me chasing the ghost with no lily bones. Blew a hustle anywhere but never hustle home. Mama pray for a soul cause he ain't coming home. Watch you doctrine get demolished. Bluetooth pilots for YouTube scholars. I do for knowledge, not no stupid dollars. My new provider make them hoop and holler. In the lead for the light breakers, Illuminati. You ain't doing nada and blue ain't bother. Can't be rolling with you with no stupid mock and no Kansas Owens. I don't do Kamala. Free flowing up this new Kabbalah. Lumen in the garden, hit a human olive. And you can get this stick with no soup inside. Blue seat asylum on a Cuban island. My newest challenge is live a long life. Can't nobody live it for you. You gon' live your own life. Right place, wrong time. I'm in the valley where the bones dry. I prophesy to the bones rise. How you supposed to have light if you got solar missing? Everything seem bright with solar vision. A whole court with witness, nobody noticed missing. I'm my own judge, jury, and the co-defendant. It ain't an idol with the solar image. Get to the core, my nigga, no pretending. Hotter than Jamie Foxx on a solar mission. Melchizedek, no beginning nor an ending. Wake up, Jacob, tell him it's urgent. Identify me by the blessings, never the curses. Walk on water, but I never submerging. You a goon on Zoom, but never in person. My verses merge with the ancient letters. My rating's good, but my rank is better. You soft as Wayne and baby's leather. If I bring my best, you can't do better. Local natives, surrounded by the foreigners. The throne of David, the crown is Moorish. I can anoint the babies and crown the poorest. I'm rolling out, I found the forest. Lex told me keep a head and a leg up. Y'all rock with a tank at your head, bruh. Consul told Blue keep the bread up. Seen solar at the door like Lamba. Yeah, I'm shooting for the top like Rick Berry. Sneaking baseline trying to rip Parrish. This is where your talking points get perished. Just to be a champion like Chris Harris. How you supposed to have light if you got solar missing? Everything seem bright with solar vision. A whole court with witness, nobody noticed missing. I'm my own judge, jury, and the co-defendant. It ain't an idol with the solar image. Get to the core, my nigga, no pretending. Hotter than Jamie Foxx on a solar mission. Melchizedek, no beginning nor an ending.
The man is not allowed to fly a plane in his own country, but you want to convince the world that this man is not only a threat to his neighbors, but he is a threat to the entire human family. You are a liar. Liar, and the people are intellectual cowards who sit down and suck up this filthy lie.
Man, I've been rapping for a minute, I don't see how niggas hate on me. Swab boss, the greatest motherfuckers should wait on it. Even if my album drops 10 years from now, nigga, it's gonna be the hardest album out 10 years from now, nigga. The Swab boss, you niggas should see that shit. Whatever I am in the old niggas should be that shit. Whatever they say they gon' throw, I don't agree with it. Just add a couple of my hoes and come to me with it. Man, it's Swab boss. The reason why these niggas get hauled off if 100 niggas die for this cause is a small cost. I'm trying to get my people on their feet again, nigga, but I'm back smoking weed, drinking Hennessy, nigga. And maybe that's why I'm not back on my shit. It's why I bought some 2-6 and moved out to the place. A couple people from Phil. Now we know we done shit. Now they know they should quit trying to make it hood rich. All that bullshit on your man, oh, I wish you would spit. Niggas know what I'm about, and they wish I would flip. Niggas ask about a track, they wanna hear that shit. But when I ask to do a track, they don't hear that shit, man. And that's the type of shit that I don't say, man. Niggas know from the go that I don't play, man. Coming straight from the street, nah, I ain't straight, man. They ain't fucking with him, 'cause he don't pay, man.
Why are the Europeans so insecure about other people in the world? And why do you, everywhere you go, you're gonna kill and murder the rest of the people of the human family? Your history is written in the blood of the black, the brown, the yellow, and the red. Why are you so insecure? Do you know what brings about insecurity? What brings about insecurity is when you have a false concept of yourself. And the false concept of self is white supremacy. They believe that they are better because they are white. And as a result, see, when a man has that kind of silly mentality, Hitler had the silly mentality that the white man, the Aryan, is superior. So then at the Olympics, Jesse Owens kicks up all the Aryans. Hitler is outraged. He's angry. That's very simplistic. Yeah. Well, you need it to be simplistic. You need it to be extra simplistic. You see, they can't even take the reality. I know they can't. They can't handle. You know, look. When you take a brick, and you hurl the brick among a pack of dogs, only the dog who gets hit yelps. Think about it.
You're now rocking with the best. This is your boy Solarmind. And guess what? We got more debates lined up for the family. How y'all like the season 3 so far? I know, man. We just took things to a whole nother level. Shout out to the league. Make sure you come prepared because these debaters in this league is not playing this season as what y'all can see. These debaters are coming locked and loaded. So make sure you show some love to the boys in the line when they come in the building for these debates. I want to know who's going to be the winner. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for who's going to be the one to reign supreme for the 2020-2021 season. So, let's get these debates on, shall we?
Hey, what's up, family? It's the boy Swab Boss, man. Shout out to Bing on the track, Z on the can. That's a snapping off film. Shout out to Solarmind, the commission, the Solar Vision Debate League. Shout out to Knowledge Born Allah, Do the Knowledge Radio, Knowledge Born Allah on YouTube. Shout out to the AOI Gold, Mount Brandon Bay, Ampu, Pro Black, Wicked Radical, Ground Zero, and Hurricane Katrina, the King James 13, Anti-Bully Inc. Shout out to the judges. Shout out to the peers, and shout out to the reason we're here, man. The people of S.V.D.L. Welcome to the Argument League. You already know what it is. Man, we got a spectacle going down today. The commissioner, the one and only, man, the commissioner of the greatest debate league ever decided to stop by today. You know, I know people that know people. So it is what it is, man. We got Solarmind, the commissioner himself in the building. Black Power, what's good with you, brother? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Man, you got it. Hanging in there, posted up, man. Appreciate you coming through. Just to let y'all know, the league, Solar Vision Debate League. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Solar Vision Debate League. Is in season 3 right now. They're in the conference playoffs. I got the bracket. Let me share this, right? Taz going up against Domo in the conference finals. I got the title right here also with the date. That is, does separation disrupt the impact of white supremacy? That's July 14th. That's 4 days from now. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on the other side of the bracket, we got Asar versus Anon, 401ks versus insurance. Which is the better tool to close racial wealth gap? That's June 18th. June? That's July 18th. 9 p.m. But that's how Anon texted to me. No, I'm lying. He didn't put the date in that. No, he did put the date in that. That is how he texted to me. July 18th. So make sure y'all be there, man. It's been a very interesting playoffs. Cannot wait to see the rest. So we have the privileges of actually getting into the mind of the person who's sitting at a unique angle. He's actually the commissioner of the league, man. Those are from front to back, start to infinity. So let's get right into it, big bro. As the what made you start Solar Vision Debate? First one.
What made me start Solar Vision Debate League? We was I think it was Iman Bashir. We was actually working on trying to clean up his name from what happened. He, if anybody's unaware who he is, he was a person that was on frequent on Sarnetta's channel, and the way he was painted in a more negative light than what he wanted to be on the channel. They made him, I think the nickname was the doormat of the conscious community was one of his nicknames, and the impression that they gave off for what was kind of created from Sarnetta of him was a person that was very, I guess, enthusiastic about his belief, but had little knowledge. And that's kind of was the picture that was painted of him. So, and this wasn't just due totally to his inability to articulate himself. This was more so due to what was being done behind the scenes, according to himself, which he actually proved to be true. He showed how Sarnetta was editing a lot of the videos, to make it look or appear as if, most of the people that he was conversing with was actually getting the upper hand, when in a lot of times that was not the case. So the idea was initially to get some debates with him. We set up a trilogy with him and Gorilla Hebrew. So they had 3 debates lined up. And then I believe that it was Orthodox Moore that actually would contact me. And, he wanted to set up some debates with Bashir. And so we set up a trilogy with Orthodox Moore. And then Orthodox Moore would introduce me to, I believe, Judah Nasserah. And then that's when the idea came to my head. I was like, I might as well start a debate league, because it was a few people coming to me, and I was like, yeah, it would be good, because I was setting up debates with just Bashir. So they was all supposed to debate Bashir. And once Judah Nas came, then it was like, yeah, I think I should set up a debate league. So that's where the idea initiated. It kind of came as a result of the efforts into, getting Imam Bashir's name back out there in a more positive light. But as more debaters came to debate him, I was like, yeah, I should start a debate league. And I think it was Gorilla Hebrew, being there, that a lot of people wanted to debate Gorilla Hebrew. This is why initially you seen a lot of Israelites coming into the league, because Gorilla Hebrew, I brought the idea to him, and he was down with it. And a lot of the Israelites, for whatever reason, wanted to debate him. So that's why you had a whole influx of Israelites coming in at the time.
Well, those are some heavy names that you're saying. So it's not like you just had people coming to you. You had Orthodox Moore, Imam Bashir, Gorilla Hebrew, Judah Nasser. Shout out to all of them. That comes from you having a history in the conscious community. I know you had a YouTube presence before that. You want to speak on that? When did you actually start YouTube, period? And what was you doing?
Me and Oh God, we had a blog talk radio called In the Black Radio, and that was on Blog Talk. And we had an interview with Professor Griff, and the interview didn't go too well. We was trying to figure out what we was going to do with the actual interview, and the idea came up that, yeah, we're going to actually post it on a YouTube page. So that would be the first video that would be on the YouTube page, would be that Professor Griff video.
And well, the Professor Griff interview that was on Blog Talk that kind of went left, and that received a lot of views. So from there, it kind of started, the transition from Blog Talk to YouTube.
Is that episode still up? You got that?
It may be on Blog Talk. The actual channel, the In the Black channel got shut down. But
if I could ask, how did it go left? Who was it on?
Well, it was a general interview. It was like a general interview with Professor Griff. One of the brothers, I forget the brother name. He got us the interview because we was able to get his money back from Polite. Polite owed him $17,000. So we was able to we put enough pressure on Polite, and he eventually gave the money back. So what he did was he paid for Professor Griff and Phil Valentine to come on to our show. So since Sarnetta knows these people, he tried to call initially Phil Valentine to get him to not come on the show. Phil Valentine did come on, and he still came on, but you could see in the beginning he was kind of a little wary, kind of like testing the water to see. I don't know what exactly was told to him, but obviously it was something negative. You see in the beginning of the interview, he seemed to be a little, standoffish. But eventually, as he began to see, because I'm a big fan of Phil Valentine, that I was naming, we was talking about Lockdown USA, and I was naming different things that he did. So he eventually opened up, and it turned out to be a good interview. And eventually he would call me later, and we would have kind of a working relationship. And after that, but whatever was told to him initially, he was kind of standoffish. And it would be Hakeem at Black and Nobel that actually would tell me that Sarnetta called Phil Valentine to try to get him to come on the show. And the same was done to Professor Griff. But as what I said, the brother actually paid for the interviews. And so it was a little more of an obligation on their part to actually come in. So when Professor Griff came on, what he did, because it wasn't, it was the sister Renee was actually doing the interview. Sister Renee was actually doing an interview, and he was being an asshole the whole time. So I'm listening, like, so I text, because we like texting each other. So as she's doing the interview, I text like, yo, is it me or is he being an asshole? So she texted me back like, it ain't you. So that's when I came in. I actually have his book, The Psychological War Against Hip Hop. I actually have his book. I went to his lectures. So I quoted something from his book. And he said he don't want to talk about that. So now I'm like, okay, like what's up? Like, what's good? Like, what's going on? And he got defensive. He began to, then eventually just jumped off in the middle of the interview. He was being standoffish. Like, we would ask a question. She would ask a question, like, about his career. He'll be like, well, why do you want to do all that? And like, what are you here for if you don't want to be interviewed? So I literally asked him, okay, let me ask him something that's in his book. Maybe he don't want to talk about his rap career. Let me ask him. So I asked him something in the book. He don't want to talk about that either. So I'm like, okay. So, come to find out it would be Sarnetta that actually would plant the seed in his head. And he would come on there and eventually, So, everybody was a little, salty about that interview, and they, figured it. They was going to take it down. I said, no, don't take it down. Put it up on the YouTube page. Let that be the first video on the YouTube page. And they did it, and I think it got like about maybe 20, 30,000 views. And then, people in the comment section going in on Professor Griff. So it wasn't us. And obviously everybody else was agreeing that it was a video that, he wasn't being the best person to interview. So it would go around. And then Professor Griff does business with what formerly was Black and Nobel. So I have a working relationship with those guys over there in Philly. And so I'm getting phone calls now. He brought Hakeem into this. You know, Hakeem was the owner of Black and Nobel. He brings him into it. So he's now asking me about Professor Griff. And so I'm saying, like, I didn't do nothing to Professor Griff. I just posted the video. So now Professor Griff wants us to take the video down. So I'm asking him, like, well, what do you want me to take the video down for?
We paid for the interview.
Yeah. I mean, and because he's acting like he hopped off the interview. We didn't do nothing. So he wants us to take the video down. So I'm like, so it turns into him talking to Hakeem and then Hakeem talking to me. That began to frustrate me. That he's Professor Griff. So I can't say pull. Of course he got pulled. He's Professor Griff, right? So I can't take that away from him. But I didn't like the fact that he was using Hakeem as if Hakeem had some power over me. You know. So I had to be more frank with Hakeem and say, look, I don't know why he brought you into this, but this ain't really got nothing to do with you. So you might want to, tell him to call me. Because I don't really even want you in a part of this. I had to be frank with him. Because he kept on calling me like, yo, just take the video down, bro. Why you like he's calling you like, you know what I mean? Like, so I had to be straight up with him. Like, dude, he got to talk to me. Because you don't really have no power over me to tell me to do anything. So this is like, now we both in Philly, Black and Nobel is on Erie Ave. So this could turn into a situation. You got some niggas on Erie Ave. When they say EA all day, that's Erie Ave. That's what that means. So they support the bookstore. And I know, like, if anything goes crazy, that it can be something behind, this whole thing. So I'm telling him, like, yo, I don't know why he bringing you in this, but don't call me no more asking me about what Professor Griff is telling you to tell me what to do. You know what I mean? So we said, yeah. So he gets Professor Griff to call me, and Professor Griff calls me, and so I bring Sister Renee and Oh God on the line as well. So they're all listening, and I'm like, what's up? He like, yeah, he's saying all this fly shit. He knows cops, and to come to find out that's who he had going up to Black and Nobel, harassing Hakeem with some cop that he knew. He harassing Hakeem, so Hakeem is calling me as a result. But I know cops and this and that, and he's trying to make himself actually. That's stuff I don't care about. I don't care about. Yeah, it's like bullets could kill anybody. I don't, all that talking, I don't care about none of that stuff. So it's like, okay. And plus, we're not supposed to be on that note anyway because we're conscious. And so I'm like, I'm listening. We sat there and listened to him. Like, I let him do his whole spiel. And once he did all that, I'm like, so he's talking about, he got cousins that did shit and he ain't trying to do the subtle threats, but he's not directly threatening you. Yeah, I just had to talk my cousin out of shooting up this car the other day, and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. So what do you call it? What do you want from me? Is what I'm asking. So he was like, yeah, just take the video down. I said, for what? He said, because I said so. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I tell you what. He said, no, you're not going to tell me nothing. He cuts me off. No, you're not going to tell me nothing. What you're going to tell me is, so that happened. That went back and forth for about maybe a minute and a half. Me saying, well, I tell you what. Like, no. He didn't even like that. He was doing like what the dude was doing to you earlier. He didn't like that, so he just cut me off right there. No. You're not going to tell me nothing. I said, okay, well, the video's staying up. And anything you want to talk about, now what? The video's going to stay up. So he hangs up. Then Hakeem calls me again. I don't answer the phone. I don't even want to talk to this nigga. No, I don't answer the phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, then he calls me back. Professor Griff calls me back. You think Hakeem
I said,
was on the
look,
phone?
huh?
You think Hakeem was on the phone?
I don't know. I don't know if he was on the phone or not on that conversation. So then Professor Griff calls me. Then I'm like, look, so he's talking the same stuff. Like, yeah, you're gonna take the video down, and yeah, you got. I think he was giving a day's amount. Like, you got a sort of. I said, oh what? Oh what? You know what I'm saying? Well, what you gonna do? Like, if I don't take the video down. So I said, I'll tell you what. If you take the video, I said, if you come on and apologize for what you said live on air, I'll take the video down. And he said he ain't gonna apologize for nothing. So I said, all right, well, the video's staying up there. So, that was that, so that's what happened with the Professor Griff interview. That would be the first video that actually would be on the In the Black media page, and that's what led to the whole beef with the Polite and all that type of stuff. He scammed this dude that just so happened to live in Philly. And really, initially, I was just,
This was after. This was on Blog Talk. The Polite Press.
Yeah. The Polite situation began from Blog Talk.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a guy that contacted us. Well,
y'all contacted him.
No, it was no. What happened was, and this is how shit is crazy. We was frequent in New York City. We would go to New York City frequently, so we got to meet all these people in person. And I think when we went to the I think it was one of those Kim and O trial, one of those things. And I think we met Divine Prospect. And Divine Prospect, we got cool with him. Got cool with Divine Prospect. And if you could remember a while back when he had Divine Prospect on the couch, and it was I think we was being interrogated by Shaka Atmos and Polite, and then Uncle was on the line. They was asking him because he plays the middle of the field according to what they're saying and according to what the stream was. So they was hounding him real bad, and they was like, oh yeah, you're playing the middle of the field, you're acting like you're African, but you're Israelite, and there's no such thing as that, and blah blah blah. And it got disrespectful. What he did was he contacted OGOD and gave us the dude's information. And he deleted that Facebook page. And that's why I'm saying to y'all, bro. Now, y'all think that he's a nice guy and he's short and he's like, he's defenseless. He was the source behind that whole thing, bro. Because that was really the first time that really was the first time that actually became public about the scamming. That was the very first time. You see all these scamming videos that came in. That was the very first time that got out there public.
Solid, yeah, concrete.
Yeah, it was from that situation. So he started all that. And in some ways he's responsible for destroying Polite, far as, this person that he wanted to be. Now Polite is doing things, still doing big things, but he wanted to be a certain type of way. That got destroyed by really Divine Prospect, because he the one that actually pointed us in the direction to the guy. And the old guy was talking to him for a while before I even took it into consideration. Because I was like, okay, And then I was like, okay, let me talk to him. And then when I talked to him, I'm like, okay, he sounded pretty solid. And it wasn't even like he was asking for help. He was just really saying like he gonna fuck Polite up pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And I contacted Sarnetta initially. And I'm like, yeah, it's this guy that's asking, because at this point I'm thinking that, the conscious community are like, these righteous motherfuckers that's presenting information and all that stuff that everybody, some people still believe and all that. So at that point I was contacting him to, maybe it's some type of misunderstanding,
So he brought Polite in on the 3-way, and then I told Polite, and he actually confirmed it. Like, yeah, he knows the guy. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, because he's saying that you owe him this money, and so I could go back to him like, yeah, they said it was gonna take care of it, and so the guy really ain't buying it. Like, yeah, they lying. Like, he's trying to show us, like, you know, how these motherfuckers is. So he began to show us the emails, and this is how we got Polite's actual name. Show us the emails and show us the transfer, the money transfer, and all that. And he showed the emails how he tried to contact Polite and he was avoiding them, and he showed all that shit. Like, the actual 17,000 that was transferred to him, what he said he was going to do. He's saying that it wasn't done and all this, and so Polite would not respond to him for I think it was a couple months before, my solution would be that, like, yeah, why don't you just come on our radio and actually bring it out? Because he was talking about something, he was like in the military. He was over in Afghanistan at the time. And I would be communicating really through his wife because she was still in Philly.
Was he off when he sent the stacks to Polite?
Huh?
Was he off? Was he away in the military when?
Polite? Yeah, he was still in Afghanistan.
Damn.
So he looking like, he doing all this, I mean, I think it was like he figured though, like he about to leave the military, so he wanted something, like, to own property, and get into that. So he's listening to Polite, and he thinking that Polite's going to get him started on that with certain promises that he was made, far as Polite sold him on a lot of shit, that he, Polite's very well spoken, so he brought into it, and he gave him 17,000 to help him out, and everything went downhill from there. The things that he actually paid for wasn't being produced by Polite. So at a point in time, he just asked for his money back, and then that's when Polite was avoiding him. And yeah. So I did. So then it turned into like he was going to fuck him up permanently, pretty much, saying in nice words. So when I was contacting Polite, like, yo, because the dude, he was like one of those dudes that he didn't play. Like, he didn't like.
Yeah, it is.
Even when we had casual conversations, he wasn't playing this shit. Like, that nigga wasn't playing, bro. Yeah. You could tell, like, he was a nigga that was not playing. So I was contacting him like, yo, like, boy? Because he ain't playing. I was on that note. I wasn't even on our note like, yeah, we're going to expose, like, we're going to get him. I was like, yo, dude is not playing with you, bro. You want to get that situated, as soon as possible. But like, still was avoiding them. So really, that was my option to say, well, we're going to go on the air and talk about this. So don't do nothing. That's what I'm saying to him. Don't do nothing when you get back to Philly. Don't do nothing to him. We're going to go on air and we're going to bring it out. So even that was like, or some shit like, me trying not to make this into something that somebody could get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because, I could read a motherfucker, and I knew that nigga was not fucking playing, bro.
When he touched back down, he was coming to see that
man. Yeah. Like a motherfucker. And because he kept on saying, I throw all this away. I spent too much time over here. I throw everything away. You know what I'm saying? He kept on saying that shit. And maybe he was blowing smoke, but it's hard to blow smoke on Solarmind. Y'all know this shit. So it was like, he was convincing. So I was just like, look, don't even do that. Just come on our show. We're going, we're going to do it this way. And it worked. We brought him on the show. He actually brought it out. And the interesting thing, since this was like the very first time that this actually happened, and well, before that, it was I was entertaining other avenues. Since I talked to Polite, I talked to other people, talked to Pills. I believe I talked to I forget the other dude that used to do the promotion over there. Talked to Phil Valentine. I talked to a couple of the elder brothers. I forget the other brother name. But yeah, I talked to all of them, within the whole process. But they were saying that this is something that was known behind the scenes, but it never came out. So going back to the actual interview, when that first happened, the responses was like, it woke me up. That was like the red pill. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, damn.
That motherfucker still.
No, because what woke me up was the call-ins. Like the motherfuckers calling in, they blaming us and shit. Why are you going, like, why are you bringing this out? You could have called them behind it. We did call these motherfuckers behind the scene. We did do all that shit. What are you talking about? So that's how the religious mind is not just in Christianity. It's not just in Islam. It's just, and they was like, what you trying to destroy, everything but dealing with, do these niggas got his money? You know what I'm saying? Do these niggas, so those were the call-ins. I think Polite called in, and that kind of started a riff with me and Imam Bashir for a minute too, because he was like supporting, them for whatever reason. But that's what happened. That's what happened, and that's how
That's right. So Sonetta was hating. I'm gonna call it hate when he got into it with Akeem. But this was still back in the blog talk days. Now I know a little bit about the past, the conscious community, and I know that I felt like I've seen Sonetta, try to, stunt your growth before. What was your relationship to Sonetta at this point in time? Like, was it a personal thing? Like you knew him personally?
Yeah, we had we knew each other because when did I first meet Sonetta? Oh yeah, it was. Well, I actually was purchasing his his DVDs, and I would show, and this at the time I was an Ahmadi Muslim then, and I would show Imam Bashir the DVDs. So he actually Imam Bashir would actually move to New York, and I guess he was like, shit, I'm gonna go over there and go to the House of Conscience. So he went up there, and then that's whatever happened with their relationship, it developed into him actually coming on there and beginning to promote that perspective of Islam. But I think that he would have his number on the back of the DVDs, and I would call him. I called it randomly, and I'm trying to think of the first time we actually talked, but I don't know. I know when I met him in person, it was through Imam Bashir. Imam Bashir introduced me to him like face to face. But I think I called him a couple of times, or either or. Imam Bashir gave me the number, or I called the number. I think I was talking to him a couple of times before Imam Bashir actually went up there. Yeah, I think so. Because I went on a blog talk. Sonetta had a blog talk show that I actually went on. And this is how I met Uncle Cat. Because they pretty much, shuckle bucked me, and I was a Muslim then, and they got the God Killer to jump on there, and they dropping bombs and all that crazy shit. So I think I was talking to him before. Imam actually went up to New York, but he definitely introduced me to him in person. Yeah, and so we was talking from there, like randomly, and I believe that that's what happened. Yeah, because I would be buying a lot of DVDs at the time, so I began to buy a lot of Asar Kwesi DVDs, and his number was on there too. His number would be on the actual DVD, and then on the actual video, his number would pop up, and it was one of the ones that he did on masonry that I was showing my brother, because my brother was trying to be a Mason, the African origins of Masonry. So they were showing and this is something that could have been brought out in one of those debates that y'all was having, but I ain't went. That the Masonry actually comes from Africa. A lot of the concepts from Masonry actually doesn't. So T Duck
could have brought that out as a point whenever one of those discussions you had, but he didn't have the knowledge. So he was showing the African origins of masonry, and my brother, when he see the DVD, he was like, man, because it was like, so much shit that it was being shown, from actual evidence from Egypt, and he was actually showing a lot of shit. So he's like, I'm gonna call this number. So he called the number, and as our crazy answered the phone and shit. And so, the first thing as our crazy asked was like, yeah, where did you get the DVD from? So I'm like, I knew it was an issue right from the back, right from the beginning. I knew it was an issue, so I said, I got it from some stand, but I got it from Black and Nobel. I already got it from Black and Nobel. I got it from some stand. It was some stand, like, they were just selling DVDs. Like, well, yeah, it's people bootlegging. And just to let y'all know, Black and Nobel would get a lot of their stuff from Sinetta. They would go up to 125th and buy it, then they would duplicate the DVDs. So it would be like a whole bootlegging network that would be going on. Going back to, yeah, that's what I said. I told him, and so he was like, yeah, people bootlegging my DVD. So I was like, you know what, I'll just buy the actual one because I was gonna get this one to my brother, and I'm gonna buy the actual one. So I bought the actual one, and from there, I would call him. I got all his DVDs. Well, I had all. I gave some of them away to my little brother. That was my older brother that was actually looking at the interested about the masonry part. But I actually would buy all his DVDs, and from there I would actually call him, call him and order him, and so from there it turned into like conversations. We would have good conversations, go to a couple of his lectures, and he would be telling me a lot of inside shit, going on with the whole thing, and eventually, he made a comment after the I think Ray Higgins was supposed to be debating. Ray Higgins was debating Wesley Muhammad. Now that's the Ray Higgins shuffle. That's what Ray Higgins came on there. He didn't challenge nothing that Wesley Muhammad was saying, and they thought that Ray Higgins was equipped to deal with the Wesley Muhammad, but that proved not to be the case. And it was so much so that Sanada was up there. He got mad and he began to, plead the fifth. Because the Black Power took a hit that day from the blow of Wesley Muhammad, bro, because he didn't come with. So me and Azar Crazy was talking about it, and Azar Crazy was saying to me like he would have brought this up, and he would have brought this up. He would have took it back into ancient Ethiopia, and he's like breaking a lot of shit down that I'm like, I don't know, Wesley could have been dealing with that, you know what I'm saying? So the next time I talked to Sinetta, I brought that up. So Sinetta got hyped, like, yo, yeah, I'm gonna call Wesley Muhammad. I'm gonna call Wesley Muhammad. And yeah, this was all before Sinetta. This is before Bashir went to New York. Yeah, all this happened before Bashir went to New York. Yeah, I think, yeah, it did. Yeah, because I was over there. Yeah. So he calls Wesley Muhammad. And so I told him, but he said like, yo, he told me to lie. He was like, yeah, say that you're one of Azar Quasi's, representatives or some shit like that. He was like, I'm like, nah, me and him just talk on the phone, you know what I'm saying? And this is just the truth. So this ain't me coming at Sinetta. I don't want to turn it like, we got a working relationship now, so it's cool. Yeah. But this is just the truth of what happened. So this nigga said like, yeah, tell him that you was one of his representatives. And I'm like, nah. I tell him like, no. I'm like, nah, I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yeah, that would be a good debate. I'm like, yeah, that would be a good debate though. Yeah. So we end the conversation, and I was on my way to the market. I'm going to the market, then I get a call, and I'm looking at the phone. There's like a number that I saved in my phone. So I don't answer it the first time, and then it calls me again, and then I answer the phone, and it's Wesley Muhammad. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? Like, yeah, what's up, Wesley? You know, and like, yeah, what's going on? And he's like, yeah. Are you one of Azar Crazy's representatives? I'm like, no, I'm not one of Wesley. I'm not one of Azar Crazy's representatives. I do talk to him frequently. And they're, yeah, because Sinetta was saying that he wanted to debate me, which Azar Crazy didn't say that. All he was saying was like, if he would have debated, if he was debating him, he would have did this. So I was like, well, I don't really know if he wanted to debate you or not. You know what I'm saying? But I will call him. I call him if, you know, want me to call him? Wesley Muhammad didn't really want that work like that. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, what he say? He said, yeah, because I really don't consider him, because, you know, Wesley Muhammad had the whole ghetto scholarship thing going on, where he was challenging, you know, the different perspectives, in particular, Bobby Hemmett, Walter Williams, and, you know, others that he was actually challenging, you know, with what he termed as ghetto scholarship. So he says, like, I don't consider him to be a ghetto scholar, so I really don't have nothing, an issue with him. So, you know, I just kept it there. All right, well, you know, but I did call and tell Ray Higgins, you know, what happened. He just started laughing. So, you know.
Ash Rockway?
Yeah, I told Ash Crazy, yeah, like, yeah, you won't believe this shit. And he just started laughing, like, yeah, you know. But that would be the first time I actually began to communicate with him, Sinetta. So he would call me randomly after that, you know, because he thought I had some type of connection with Azar Crazy. And him and Azar Crazy had a falling out from the whole DVD thing. So he thought that he could actually, you know, get me to actually get him to do a debate or something.
So why was Sinetta trying to convince Professor Grip and Dr. Valentine not to come on your show? Like, what had happened by then? Did it stem from you
well,
you was the representative?
No, it wasn't. No, it didn't have nothing to do with that. Because I mean, we talking about from a time of, that would probably be around like 2000, maybe 9, 2010. Yeah, no, it could have been. It was earlier than that. Maybe like 2008, 2007. Really, it was around that time. That didn't happen with the whole thing. That'd be 2016. That, you know.
So was you shocked when you heard it, or that's what I'm saying? Like, was it
something? Well, the reason why he told Professor Grift really not to fuck with us is because of the fact that we brought the guy on to talk about Polite.
Oh.
So that would be the guy would actually play. He brought us a camera, and the guy brought us once he got the 17,000 back, he brought us a camera, and then he paid for Professor Griff and Phil Valentine to come on our show. So, you know, we posting up the advertisement for it. And this is all after he came onto our show and talked about Polite and all that. So, you know, he was defending Polite, really, I guess you could say, you know, or maybe they, you know, whatever. They both had something in on it or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, so he felt some type of way about what we did to Polite, because I guess he, you know, he had something invested in Polite that was being messed up.
That's, you know, crazy. Like I know it's all in the past, but that's just crazy. That's just so happy when people do something. I consider that was righteous, which I was on, and other people willing to turn their head when other people do wicked shit. Like, yeah, they gotta hate on you. They can't let you get big because the wicked shit can't be done. So, what was the history? How did you meet your I guess you could say your Potters or whatever? Renee, Sister Renee, and Dog. How did you meet them? Oh, not
that was yeah. Oh God, that would be through Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, they were. We would meet through Blog Talk Radio. Brother Tyrone show, Real Talk Solutions, and Good God Allah had a show too where he would do debates.
Shout out to Good God Allah.
Yeah, he would be doing debates and yeah.
Oh, okay. So
That's
y'all
where we
frequented the same Blog Talk and then started y'all together.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. That's hard. Hell nah. Yeah, because I know Sister Renee from Psychopathia's channel. So I didn't know that y'all had a history. I heard you brought her up a few times. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Okay. Small YouTube world. All right, so now you're at a Blog Talk, you in the YouTube, and or did you? Did you stop Blog Talk like immediately when you start going to YouTube? You was like, this was better?
No, I think it was like a both. Like we was doing both at that point in time, and then I was like, yeah, what's the point of doing the Blog Talk? Because we had to pay for the Blog Talk. YouTube was free, so it was like kind of transition.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah, don't really get to get that past history. You know what I'm saying? And you from Philly?
Yeah.
Philly, been in your own life?
Yeah, most of my life, yeah.
Damn, Philly to the core. You ever think about getting up out of there?
I moved a couple of times. I lived in South Carolina for a minute, North Carolina. I lived in Florida.
That's crazy. Go back to Philly. Damn.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
What now?
I didn't really want to go back to Philly though when I was in North Carolina. I liked the North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Cheap cost of living. Yeah, cheap cost of living.
Shit. Ain't everything is Philly as high as New York?
Nah. It's nowhere near as high as New York, bro.
New York is dumb, bro.
A lot of landlords from New York purchase houses in Philly. Yeah, because it's so cheap, in comparison to New York.
Just so they can live in New York. That's hard. Man, so now you in season 3 with Solar Vision Debate League, man. Congratulations on that. I gotta say, man. Did you see it? Did you know? When you first started it with the Imam Bashir and all of that, did you actually think ahead to like year 3?
I knew it was going to be something once it was like, at a point in time, it was just like a call every day of somebody trying to join. And I would give, kudos to Orthodox Moore, Judah Nazareth, especially Gorilla Hebrew, because, he was like the target, I guess, but he was the target. And I think Judah Nazareth and Orthodox Moore was the one that was passing the word out, like, yo, you could debate Gorilla Hebrew on this channel because he's a member. So a lot of people would be calling me like, yeah, I want to join the league. I want my first debate to be with Gorilla Hebrew. So everybody, you got a whole bunch of Israelites as a result of that. And then at a point in time, once it got to like, I would call Lord Abba, Taharka Bay, because I actually met Taharka Bay in person and Lord Abba. So I would call them. And they was other targets too, for people that wanted to debate. And so, it was Lord Abba, Taharka Bay, and Gorilla Hebrew. Those were the known people that people wanted to debate, but in particular, it was Gorilla Hebrew. Most people would want to debate. So a lot of people came as a result of that, just to debate those guys. And once it got to like, I think it went from like, within like a week's time, it went up to from maybe 5 debaters to 25. I'm like, yeah. So that's when I had to start the website and all that. And, I knew that at that point, it was going to be something,
Yeah, shout out to Goldman. Goldman put me on to the debate league. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to go to his panel and frequent. And like, man, you should join this debate league. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking it's going to be a whole bunch of, I don't know why I thought that. It was going to be like just a whole bunch of crack-ass Christians and shit. And I came over, it was like all, black dudes talking about, Israelites, Moors, which I was up on it. I don't know why that just didn't add up. Yeah, so shout out to Goldman for that. So what do you see different from year 1 to year 3, anything that just sticks out?
What would be different in comparison from year 1 to year 3?
Yeah.
I think like what is being talked about, that'll be the main thing. I remember it was like an Old Testament, New Testament thing going on in season 1, like this beef, Old Testament, New Testament beef, and now it's more like I mean, it's really broad now, because you still have the biblical debates, but you also have political debates, and there's always like a theme. This year, the theme was capitalism. So that would be like the difference. It's less interreligious, debate. Because at a point in that time, people thought that this was like a Israelite debate league.
Facts.
And I'm like, nah, because he had and shout out to Captain Cesaria, he would contact me, and that's where the whole cross the line thing came from. Because he had ideas of actually, it was so many Israelites that he thought he could bring some of those guys to ISUPK.
He was trying to recruit. This was gonna be recruit.
Oh yeah, that's what the whole cross the line thing was about. Yeah, it was like he wanted to actually, recruit some of the Israelites.
Wow. Well, did he? Any?
I don't know. Maybe some. Not the none that I'm aware of. I don't really know any that did. I think once he found out that they were the ones that would be against those camps,
they become these niggas that want your head. They want your place. What you talking about? They want
they didn't. So yeah, he was.
Okay.
Shout out to Captain Cesaria.
That's cool. You got a favorite debate?
Let me say this first. The video that I'm really known for is I was on 125th, and it'd be people coming up to me. The guy downstairs in his apartment I live in, he came into me like, yeah, I seen you on YouTube. Yeah, you was on in New York, and it was polite, and it was and I was like, yeah, you was asking questions about the Bible. So we are connected. I was talking to them about this not too long ago. Like, we're connected that way because I think that's one of the biggest videos, got the most views on Solarmind's channel. And I just so happened to be in a crowd at the time, and I asked some type of question. I forget the question that I asked. So I don't know why everybody remember that, but they would come up to me. Random people would come up to me even while I'm walking around Philly. And yeah, you was the guy that was on. My landlord came up to me, like, yeah, you was on that video with it, And yeah, me and Cesaria, because he was Polite was talking to Cesaria, so me and him always bring that up. Yeah, and that's how he was actually. That's how he actually got known, around that time too. So,
Polite, you mean?
No, to Captain Cesaria. Wow. Remember, they used to go up to the. Well, really, this was like them both coming into, being known. I guess you could say. But Sonetta wanted to promote Polite, so they would actually go and troll the Israelites. Yeah. And this would be a live trolling. They would go, and this is where the whole cross the line thing happened, and all that shit. The rest was history. And that's how Cesaria. Because people thought Cesaria was in the ISUBK for years. Now he came in around that time.
Damn.
Yeah, he came in around like 2013, 14, I believe. He was new to the ISUBK.
The General Yohana.
Right.
That's wow. And you said, I'll get to the debate question in a minute, but you said you were Muslim. How did you become a
Muslim? I became Muslim through a friend, brother Kareem. You know, he actually began to tell me about Islam. And I think at the time I was in college at the time, so I wasn't really trying to, you know, because I was always into the Bible. I would read the Bible a lot, and even when I was younger, and we grew up together. So, you know, we'd be talking about Revelations, and you know, more from a spooky standpoint. Like, you know, this shit was crazy, you know, and so we had a working relationship with actually discussing the scriptures, and he would, when I was in college, he would call me and tell me that he converted to Islam. Now I'm in college, so you know, I'm doing college shit. So I'm like, nigga, you know, okay, talk to me about that when I'm on for vacation.
Yeah.
You know. So I goes there and you know, he's talking, you know, he's showing me a lot. I think he had a book called The Bible Led Me to Islam or something like that he gave me. And I read the book, and it was, you know, had the, you know, the general arguments that the Muslims have to challenge Christian thought, because I was a Christian then. And it was one day, I think I came home from football practice, and I was tired. I just flopped on the bed. And then the way that I flopped, I just looked right at the book. Like, look right at the book. So I just started reading the book, and I read the book, and then you know, I was like, yeah, this is, you know, that led me to looking into other stuff, and I began to actually get more books and talk to him. We was conversing. Eventually, I would accept Islam, you know, from there.
That's hard. You had to change your name and everything?
Yeah. My name was Yaqub Ali.
The big head science.
Yeah. That's the Nation of Islam. I was an Ahmadi Muslim, like Imam Bashir. That's where I met Imam Bashir at.
That's hard.
Yeah, once now the reason Kareem says that, because I asked him, like, why did you become an Ahmadi? Because, you know, the main Muslims in the Philly is Sunni Muslims. That's a very small sect, period. But in particular in Philly, like, you don't really see them. So he was like, he just when he got interested in Islam, he was looking up a number, and you know, Ahmadi is an A, so that was the first number that popped up, and you know, that was interesting. So we would actually go up to the mosque and get to know, you know, some of the brothers, and I met Imam Bashir's uncle, and eventually that will lead to me meeting Imam Bashir.
That's hard. That's hard. I can assume you just born into Christianity.
Yeah. My grandfather was a preacher. Once he came home from the war, he fought in World War II, and he became a minister after that. So he had a church that Mount Zion Baptist Church, and he was minister there. So yeah, he had a solid Christian foundation.
You was a bad kid? I mean, I know you went to college, so you know, you
I wasn't like a, what they would say about me. I would rather tell them what people say. I don't consider myself to be a bad kid, but people would say that I have a mind of my own, and I do. It wasn't like I was bad. Like, I wasn't like the dude in the classroom messing with people and all that.
Yeah.
But I would do shit that I would do what I wanted to do. My main thing, I used to cut class all the time. I used to run the hallways and get NTAs to chase me. I would do it on purpose. It was like, you know,
You out here
we made it
playing
into
like
like
Ferris Bueller and shit.
yeah, it was almost like we used to go and ring the fire alarm and run and spray people with the fire hose. But that would be bad, yeah.
But you was at school. That's what they require. If you're gonna be bad at school. Yeah. Stay out them damn
Yeah, but
streets.
yeah, I was yeah.
That's crazy. So you said you was Muslim. What made you fall away from that? Or advance, evolve away from that?
Really, yeah. Really, it was like around the time I began to look at different, DVDs. I had I guess an enlightenment phase of my life was probably going into my mid-20s, where I began to just buy everything that had something to do with knowledge, and I would look into a lot of things, a lot of things, and that's something that I would do, privately. People didn't know that aspect about me, and it was like, I would go into, and I brought a lot of books. I still buy a lot of books, but I had a point in time where I was buying books, like tons of books. Like people put in, and I didn't really have no habits. That would be my habit. Like I never really smoked weed. I never really drunk a lot. So I would buy a lot of books. And I had a point where I just it was about the knowledge. And I think it was I think it was Walter Williams' book. I read Walter Williams' book. And I began to study about the Islamic history, and got into the slavery in Islam, and look at that, and at the same time I'm looking at the DVDs and listening to Cyrus Steady, all the guys that everybody was listening to, and at the same time reading. So I was saying and at the same time I was seeing forms of racism amongst our in the Ahmadiyya movement. Not necessarily race, well, it's all race, but it was issues with the Pakistanis and the blacks and the Nation of Islam. At the time, I viewed it as racism. So it showed me that you can't be in an organization that's controlled by another people, because they're not going to have your best interests at heart. So what I thought was racist then was really, they're Pakistani. They have things that they're going to focus in on. They can't really totally commit to what's going on post 9/11 to what black people are concerned about. This means with a more mature mind, But at the time, I'm thinking like, oh yeah, yeah, we got to do this together, beat the white man and all this, and because the literature within the Ahmadiyya movement actually is more so what I'm saying, is more along the lines of that. And but obviously, there's other objectives and other agendas, and they have a very organized organization, and they got to the level where it was very profitable for them as a collective, and they didn't want to sacrifice that for things that was political. So it was a line drawn between the African Americans as a result of that and the Pakistanis within the organization. And so at that point, I decided to part ways with that organization. So it wasn't necessarily from an ideological standpoint, in a sense that I began to disagree with the literature. It was more so that when you read about the literature of the Ahmadiyya Muslims, they actually called the white man the devil. And that was the conflict with the African Americans and the Pakistanis, So it was more so where they were going at, the direction they was heading in as an organization. So I would actually, I didn't never leave Islam. I just joined the Nation of Islam. I left the Ahmadiyya movement and I would join the Nation of Islam.
What did your Your center of black love, black consciousness. What did that evolve at? What did that come in?
I bought a DVD. I don't know, man. This was a videotape, and it was called Global White Supremacy. It had John Henry Clark on there, and who was it? John Henry Clark. I forget his name.
Global white supremacy.
Yeah, it was called Global. It was called Global White Supremacy. Wilson, what's his name? Amos Wilson.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, it was Amos Wilson, John Henry Clark, and there was somebody else on there, and they went the fuck in. You know, Amos Wilson goes in, yeah. And they went the fuck in. You know, I mean, but the black love was always there. You know, the black love was always, you know, goes back to the family and, you know, how we was raised. My mom, she never really showed, you know, as far as ideologically, she was like more of an integrationalist, but she would wear her hair like short, you know, and like an afro. And she was kind of like look natural. And so I don't know where that comes from with her in particular, but yeah, she was on that. She was on that, you know, kind of natural look and like to do that. And like I said, we was kind of like conservative with the Christianity, and it was more and you know, the preachers at the time were political as well. So it would be from a Christian conservative type of political atmosphere within the family, with the older uncles and aunts, you know, and so that may had an impact indirectly in some ways, you know, but they was heavy into education, and there wasn't really like certain things that people say, I would actually hear, but I never experienced. Like I used to hear shit like, "Don't be out in the sun too long because you're gonna turn black." My mom never said shit like that to me. So it was. I think it was a level of black consciousness there, because I used to hear people say that to their kids, but my mom would never say shit like that. You know.
Since you knew you was gonna be dark anyway. You know,
Yeah.
no reason. That's awesome. That's awesome. I got So back to the debate. What would you say would be one of your favorite debates, or your favorite debate from one of the 3 seasons?
My favorite debate. From out of all 3 of the seasons?
Yeah, from either 3, or one of your favorites. Just one that you remember, like that was a nice. That's it.
One of the ones that I remember, that stood out was I think
we talking about a lot of debates. We talking about
what's his name? What's his name? Davon Mays.
Davon Mays.
Yeah. When he beat Lex up.
Davon versus Lex. That's one. Yeah, that's from season 1.
That's season 1. Yourself and Minister Howe.
That was hard. That was hard. Like that one good.
And this was season 1. G Consciousness and Chris Harris John. And that's really about, you know, the whole atmosphere that happened with, you know, after the John.
I think because after that debate, because I said in my head, because I don't think that y'all even see the crazy side of Solarmind at that point in time. So, you know, it was the argument league after the debate, and Chris Harris, and I had it in my head, like, if this nigga bitch one more time, and I was talking about Chris Harris. Mm-hmm. And so, because every time before then I would be, you know, Solarmind, this Solarmind that you're seeing right now. But like, so he going on there bitching. And I'm like, nigga, stop bitching, man. We go back and forth, and and then I seen everybody's face. They were like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I remember that debate. That's why I remember that debate. I don't really know what happened during the debate, but I remember after the debate, it was like crazy.
So that's one of my favorite post debates.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite debates. The one with you and Minister Howe, I remember that debate. And like y'all was just, I don't know what the fuck y'all asking crazy questions to each other for. It was like, are you married? Nigga, are you married? What the fuck is you talking about? I know what the fuck y'all was talking about.
Yeah. Shout out to Minister Howe, man. Rio and Cozy. Make sure I support him in the Battle Rap League. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I actually remember that debate, and the Dave I made, he was just throwing, the thing I made, he was just throwing all different types of Bible verses. He's just like Bible verse machine gun, and that's wasn't ready for that shit, bro.
That's what's up, man. You had well, you're on the argument league. Shout out to you for giving that look to the argument league, man. What made you do that? And what made you look at the argument league? Like, let me hit this dude up. Give us your mind state. What were you thinking at that time?
Yeah, well, I seen that. I think it was. I think during the debate. I think once you enter the league, it was kind of being talked about in the chat room already. Like, go to the argument league, and they want to keep the conversation going about the debate, and that made me go over there and just check out what you guys were talking about. And then I had a channel that I was just sitting there. So I was like, this probably would be a good idea, just to get the channel. The channel was just sitting there anyway, and to just bring him over here, that would probably help the league as a whole as well. So that's where the idea came from.
That's hard. Now, the argument league is back for season 3. You know what I'm saying? That's G. After the initial channels were struck, y'all, if y'all been around recently, what's the name? What was that experience like for you? This is your 3rd season, right? You've been putting up with this for many moons. What was that thought right there? Like, damn, the channel struck playoffs.
I knew that. I mean, when the channel got struck, I was salty. I was like, I was just figuring out who struck the channel. Not seeing who struck the channel. I'm like, all right, whatever. So then it was like, okay, what I do? I mean, I'm like a problem solver. I don't dwell on the problem and hang my head too long. Life tells me that that's unproductive. So, it was almost like, okay, what do I do? And so the ideas came to my head to, just get the other channels going and made it into something that's a good thing. You always, the one thing about when a problem happens is that's the problem, and depending on how you respond to the problem, it's going to have a good outcome or a bad outcome. So you're really in control of the situation at that point. So, the idea was to make it into a positive thing. So that would be the mind state at that point.
That was gross. Now we came back, so obviously there was a pass with the argument league where things got, fucked up, and I, was like, fuck this, I lost the debate. I'm gonna turn this into a debate league, no religious debate, this, that, and the other. And that didn't go well. And lost the manager. I had a few streams done on me right there. What was tell me about your experience with that. What was your experience with Suave leaving the league and starting his own debate league and all of this stuff? What was contemporarily, like that at that time? What was your mind state in looking back on it? Seeing how things grown. Let us in your mind a little bit.
Yeah, after the debate, that was the buzzer beater shot with Gideon, right?
Yeah, versus Gideon.
And
Gideon, yeah.
And so I guess it was some things about going on. You felt some type of way about how it went down. Things was being discussed over on the argument league, and then I guess you posted up an announcement, and that you're starting your own debate league. Something like, really? Like you're starting your own debate league? And so I was salty, and so I'm like, you're not gonna be on my channel promoting your debate league. And then it's just like, behind, after the fact that, at that time, the argument league was the channel, one of these channels, I forget which one, one of these channels, with the subscribers. And, so I'm like, yeah, well, you're not doing that over here. Because it was almost like a slap in the face to what was actually being done over here on the Solar Vision Debate League. This is only season 1. So, I felt as though that it'd be best to part ways at that point.
How did I take it?
I think that I can remember. You did a video. You did a video talking about what happened. I forget exactly what happened. But yeah, I don't really remember totally what happened. I know there was a couple of videos done. I think Lex did a video, and this is kind of where Lex actually began to actually come into the picture. He was already here because he came in like in the middle of season 1 because he debated Davon Mays, and then he fell off. He was kind of like in and out, but he would kind of come into the picture because he would do a video on you, and I think that prompted a video with yourself and yeah, you was over there. I don't think it was too much like a tax that was being done. I think it wasn't until I think that you was more so feeling as though that it was needed, because of whatever reason, whatever you felt about the league, and that was kind of your position. I don't remember like it being like that much of a back and forth though. I think I did a video and then you did a video, whatever, and then I think it was that.
Yeah, and okay, and so obviously Suave came back to the league. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that also. It's the league. Every anybody who experienced it, we got a couple people that left for their own, came back, this, that, and the other. It's something unique over here. It's like counseling. It's like it's a hobby. A profession. You know what I'm saying? In my eyes, but brothers take it very serious. So I appreciate that. What made you initiate that contact? Say, well, that's the line I remember. Let's let cooler heads prevail. And I've only
I actually contacted you. I actually contacted, and I do that with all the debaters, even with this last time Chris called me, but I would usually contact the debater that fell out, and and this is from managing in the crackers world.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'd be used as supervisor some fucking where when I'm working. So, you know, at a particular job, I was working with the temps, and you know, they don't really last that long. So temps is always needed at the job. So one of the things that I had to do was actually call some of the temps that, you know, didn't come back in a few days and call them and to see what's going on with them. And a lot of times you'll get like a good worker and then it just be like some reason, or I didn't have bus fare, you know, I didn't pay child support. It'd be like a reason why they wasn't showing up, you know. So that is what I guess put the mentality in me that, you know, sometimes it's not, you know, what you think it is. Maybe you could, you know, you could call them and actually be able to, you know, make amends after a situation happened. You know, you sent the temp home for whatever reason at the time, and or they showed up late or they didn't come that day, and you know, so yeah, that would probably be you know, in my head, you know, so let me call them to see, you know, what's good with them, and
see it for you wanna, yeah, that's all right. Yeah. So now, like I said, it's season 3. Now we got the growth of like the AOI, the Yahweh War Machine, the tanks, Dark Side. All of this is your fault. Like how is it? Tell me about looking at that evolution of just seeing all these guys that come over here to debate. It's like I remember one time you said it was like 40 debaters, so it's like 8 debate, you know, like 5 debate minimum. These are a lot of fucking debates, man. So looking from the commissioner perspective down in the league, seeing all of the clicks for them, the personalities, you know, interact with each other. Like, what is that? What is that like?
you know, you know, when it happened initially, you know, that was the Old Testament, New Testament, and it was just kind of was like something that was, you know, that came with, you know, season 1. So it was like, okay, I would think that Israelites, you know, because I didn't know too much about the Old Testament, New Testament thing until they actually started debating. I'm like, you know, like, yeah, he Old Testament. I was like, yeah, what the fuck is that? You know, I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't know really what it meant. You know, so um, yeah, that was right from the jump, and then obviously you had the dark side, you know, coming in, and you know, that would then kind of unite in some ways the Israelites, and they will, you know, come with the war machine. And so I thought it was all good for the league overall because it's kind of, you know, I look at this from a recreational standpoint as opposed to, you know, just like more so like, you know, and I think that was maybe the initial conflicts with a lot of the debaters was, you know, how I would operate. They would be under the assumption that I'm like making a mockery out of them because they were trying to save the world in this debate league. You know what I mean? They wanted to destroy whatever doctrine it was, and they reign supreme. And eventually, everybody's going to come and join whatever the shit that they were doing, and then they was going to use that to go and beat the fucking white man. You know, and these motherfuckers. This is the mentality of a lot, all perspectives. You know, and now you got Solarmind, you know, making a mockery of that. So, you know, I think that it was kind of like a developing phase where they had to actually understand what I'm doing here that is more recreational as opposed to, you know, this ideological battle that goes on. So that was good for me, like, you know, the whole click thing, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of like looking back on the hindsight, like, why wouldn't it happen, right? That's what people do. You know what I'm saying? But just looking at it and seeing it, like I say, to me, it's pretty amazing. Now, we coined Son of a Debate League as the greatest debate league ever. And the only debate league. What makes this a debate league and set it off from all the other places on YouTube where people have debates?
I think it ran like a league, and as I told the story before, I had for Christmas I had my mom bought a Super Nintendo, right? So she got the cheapest Super Nintendo she could get. That was with one controller and no game, right? So what she did was she bought the two cheapest games. And she asked me, like, yeah, what type of games do you like? So I knew I was getting some type of game for Christmas because she randomly asked it. I think we was going to church or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I like football and I like, something else. So she brought this game called Populous. Yeah, it was a cheap ass game. It actually was a good game, but it was corny as fuck, But it challenges the mind. Populous was like a game where you actually create like a civilization, and then it's like go to war. It was like a thinking
Civilization. I play that game now. It's called Civilization. This here right here.
Yeah. It was kind of like that. You know what I mean? You make you actually make the land.
Yeah, that's
and you make Populous. And all that. Yeah. So it was a cheap game. I seen the price like $29.99 on that. And then she bought the first John Madden football.
That was not $30 for a video game back then. That wasn't cheap.
Yeah, back then the video games back then, because there was cartridges.
Yeah,
that's Populous. Yeah, back then it was the game went about $80, $79, and $59. Yeah, $59. Yeah, I wanted Street Fighter because I think they had Street Fighter on Super Nintendo at the time.
Super Street Fighter. What you think?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got that motherfucker right now. That Street Fighter. And I wanted that Street Fighter. That shit was $79.99, bro. I used to go to the motherfucking store and see that bitch. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, So she got the Madden, the first Madden. Now the first Madden, it didn't have a whole season on there. It just had the playoffs. So what I did was, I don't know what I did. I took all the teams and I wrote down all the teams. I was playing with all the teams on there like a whole regular season. I would play every team. I would play, all the teams I would play, and that's just some weird kid shit. I think I was like fucking 13, 12 at the time. But I used to write it down, right? I had a book where I wrote down all the records and all that shit and for every team. And I did it because.
So you telling me you invented the fantasy football league?
I guess you could. Yeah. I would write down. I didn't do the stats, but I did write down all the records, like the 1-0, 2-0, and all that. I used to have all that, and it was organized. I think my uncle looked at them like, "What is this?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my whole football season. My football season. And so I was like that. I used to have the football cards and the whole football cards, like all the I liked my shit neat, just like and I'm a junky person, by the way, but when it comes to that, it was like organized, and I did that, so when it came to the debate league, I was like, nobody's really doing that. That would be a good idea to actually, keep, the records, because what I began to see was that everybody was saying that they was undefeated.
Said they won. Thank you.
Yeah, they never lost a debate. That's one of the things that they said when they called me. I never lost a debate. They'll be debating each other. remember Gideon kept calling me. Yeah, I was just talking to, I just was debating somebody, and yeah, I never lost a debate. I'm like, well, I talked to him the other day. He said he never lost a debate, and that nigga lying, so. Yeah. So it went from initially keeping the we had rankings. We had the rankings in season 1, but then I converted it to the records. And then just to see how they're going, which is an ongoing thing to this very day. Because we actually took the records back out, season 3. And we went back to the rankings. And so I think season 4 was the idea brought up by Yemraya, because they was doing it anyway. It was when the person with the highest points, they were saying that they won. And, so it's the idea now for season 4 to actually, keep, the record, on the side or whatever. And that would be part of something that we actually are talking about. We're supposed to have a meeting with the guys over there on the Source Debate League and see if we can actually, broaden the debate league to bring in some more debaters from the other debate leagues and bring them into the format that we already constructed here.
Yeah, the Lions Den and was it Lions?
I don't know about the Lions Den. They're off and on, and I don't really. There's nothing really substantial that I see. It's just really, and it's not no attack, but I just really like a lot of talk more so than actually something like tangible that I can actually see what's going on over there. I know that they do debates here and there, but I don't really see nothing really consistent from them.
And that's Jeremiah Judah, right?
Yeah, that's Jeremiah Judah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so what's the name of the other? Because I think it was. I know
the source. The source is that's Jeremiah, Yashub, and all those guys.
The Source, yeah. So I look at it like friendly competition. I see that they might join, they might not. It doesn't look like this, that, and other.
It's gonna be tough for them because they're gonna have to deal with the transition from what they do, and you already know how that goes.
Yeah.
And so the idea now is to have conversations to get them ready for that. And I think I'm gonna put some contracts on them. Because we is not going through this shit again. So, oh yeah, the judges, they do shit over there.
Yeah.
And, I ain't trying to go through that.
Because initially, these little spots really had a problem with the league. As far as I see, because other leagues had experiences and went back over there, and they echo chambered a little salt for the league. Is that correct? Am I set a narrative essentially?
Yeah, well, you had a couple of people that actually, a lot of fallouts, from the top from season 1, because it's something new. Like people are telling you you're lost, and that's on your record now. It's like yeah, it's like he beat you, so people can't handle that because once again, like I said, they have a different mindset because debating before was like, okay, y'all could both. It was like what like Sal did, shout out to Sal. What he did was he just gave a platform for them to battle it out, and okay, we'll bring some people in to say who won, but really nobody, everybody, but they both want to say they won, so he didn't have a problem with that. He didn't have a problem with that, and because that's what kept the whole atmosphere of, the idea of ideology battling, like my philosophy and what I believe is going to trump yours. And it was always this save the world complex, I believe, that was in the midst of that, this, okay, if I beat everybody up, what I'm saying? It was like, an intellectual battle. And it was a more serious thing in a sense. even though it was kind of still recreational debating, but it was more so, my ideology is better than yours because mine is of the most high, That's why my shit is better, is because, God is with me type of shit going on with that, That's not what I was doing over here, y'all, like I said, y'all debate about football. Y'all debate about anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about, who God is with the most and whose ideology is supreme and who's going to save the world. This is literally just a debate league, meaning that you can come and debate about anything you want, So once that, people have to get accustomed to that. They got to get accustomed to that. And I think that if the source could come around to that, then it'd be a good relationship. Because, they still have this idea, with their beliefs and their battle and other people, and that's still there. And they would think that how I conduct myself and how I conduct the league, that I'm against that. I'm not against that, but this is just not the place for it. I'm going to go against, on a shucklebuck round, I'm going to go at you just like I go at everybody else. It's not because I hate your religion and that, it's because that this is a debate league and this is how things ran over here. So, it gotta be a willingness to accept that, and everything will be fine, But if there's still this idea of, oh, them heathens over there type of thing going on, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So
that goes back to people thinking this was an Israelite debate league, and now it's like, as soon as they, ready to jump in, they seeing it's not. Because even when I went over to Sanchez channel, they was calling me an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, dang, that's crazy. But the Shucklebuck round, home of the Shucklebuck. Home of the Shucklebuck is the coined phrase over here, man. The infamous Shucklebuck round that everybody looks forward to, not looking forward to. Well, give us a history on the Shucklebuck, man, and like its importance in the actual construction of the debate league at this point.
Well, the Shucklebuck came as a result of me having to judge the debates because I didn't really want to judge the debates. The initial people that I was making judges, they backed out at the last minute. And so what I was like, okay, well, I'll just judge it myself. So me being in some ways ignorant to Israelite philosophy, initially it was just like around to actually get clarity on what the person was saying. So that's what it was initially. So, like I said, once I was able to get the judges, I actually constructed a method of scoring, which would be along the lines of people's peers, and I would be the judge. So I was just asking, seeking clarity, but then it turned into that. It kind of turned into me asking questions and confounding a person, and then it turned into people looking forward to that. And then, it kind of took a life overall. I think I don't know who actually came up with the name Shucklebuck. Rob Rack says he was the one that came up with it.
Rob made it popular. Judah was I think that's the story that I heard. Judah said it, and Rob made it popular over here.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so that's the history of the actual name. But it was I think it was interrogation round or rapid fire. I don't know what it was called before that. But then it turned into the Shucklebuck round because that would be the round where they would be asked tough questions. But initially it was just for clarity because I wanted it to be as fair as possible. So I allowed them to break down the information, allowed them to go at it, and then I would ask. That was part of my judging process. As a judge, like, okay, let me ask some questions for a little more clarity.
But the people wouldn't stand on their answers. They didn't have evidence, and it would just get to the point where it was obvious. Like you would just ask in the beginning, you would just ask the questions, but
Yeah.
they would shuckle, and it would get to the point like, man, just answer the question. Just, and I don't think people wanted to not see that. I think people wanted to see that every debate after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially once you made that your intention. Like, oh, I know this information, and I'm finna beat you up. Because one thing I saw is that you would even bring in your own argument. You just wanted to beat.
Yeah. Then I was, then I was actually bringing in. Yeah, once it got, it almost got Hollywood. That's it's Hollywood now, But initially it was like asking questions, but then it was like people would be like, "Yeah, I can't wait till the Shucklebuck round." So then it turned into like more Hollywood type of entertainment thing. So now you got the whole thing.
So now you in the playoffs, the conference finals. Tell us about these brothers right here, man. Domo, Taz, Asar, and Anonymous, man. Let's start with the rookie, Taz. What? Tell us about Taz. What do you see? What have you experienced?
He seemed to be a dude that actually values debating. He takes it seriously. This is something that he's very interested in, and invested in as far as with his time, his efforts into present information. I think that he's very thorough with his information. Things that he do know. He definitely crosses the T's and dots the I's when it comes to what he has to offer in those areas. I think that he has he delivers the information pretty clear and concise. Personality is very engaging, and that would be good for this type of league and this type of platform. To have a very engaging personality, and he's very aggressive. He could be aggressive at times. So that's a good characteristic to have in his league, and that's why he actually was able to elevate so quickly. It's because of those characteristics. It was almost like, and after that, I had a conversation with him. I said, "No, this is the place where you want to be," because we had some encounters before, but I didn't really know him too much, and so he was affiliated with George Macon, and so we had some encounters before, but then I don't know what made him come over here, decided to come over here and do the debate thing, but it was a good idea, on his part, and I think that this is where he wants to be, because he's into that. He's into all the stuff that we do over here. He's kind of like fucking with it. So yeah, definitely was a good addition.
That's hard. And when I said the rookie, I'm sorry, the rookie of the year, right? And he finished with 962 debate points with a power ranking of 120. Shout out to him. All right, so let's go to his opponent, Domo, the MVP, the opening round leader, premise, rebuttal, closing round leader of the year, man, amongst other things. Tell us a little bit about him, man.
Domo, he initially came in, and they kind of equated him with Strap, because he was a well-spoken college guy, and so It was kind of, he had to first get that, off of him at first. That was one of the corporates behind actually trying to cause a little conflict between the two. But yeah, he is definitely, he's another person that is actually committed to actually the debate in itself. Just the idea of, debating is what he's interested in. It wasn't really that much thing outside of the debate league. Like we were talking about in season 1, we had a lot of people that was trying to save the world through this debate league, and once they lose, they felt as though that it was evil almost. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like of the devil that they lost. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was like it was like people, but with these guys, it's like they still be just as mad, when they lose, but it wasn't that religious zeal or that religious fanaticism that was attached to some of the first season debates, because they had Old Testament, New Testament beef that was heavy, and I was really ignorant of that, going into the season, and it just when it developed, it just it was what it was. So with these guys, it's more so about the debate as opposed to in season 1. It was more so about which ideology was better. Was it the Old Testament or New Testament? So as a result, you have people calling in, voting for the New Testament guy just because it was New Testament guys, not because they had the better argument. I think with these guys, it's about more so the argument. Though these guys is more so about the argument and the art of debating. And that's the thing that he actually brought into the debate league was actually the art of debating and formulating a solid argument and being able to effectively present your argument. And that's what he was able to do the rookie year. I think that there's certain nuances within the debate league that he had to get accustomed to, like the shucklebuck round, things of that nature. But as far as with what he had to offer as a debater, it was definitely a part of this transition that took place within the Solar Vision Debate League. He would probably be one of the main people behind that.
That's hard. Yeah, so make sure y'all come through, man. 14th, 9 p.m. Get that. Let's go over to the other side, man. We got the brother Asar M.K. to be exact, man. Now I know, I think y'all had a little history. That's true. Like you've been to him, right?
I didn't know him to the debate league.
Damn. Okay, that's cool. What do you?
Yeah. I didn't know.
Who's this dude right here?
How did I meet Asar? I think he just came and sent the email. I believe. Wanted to join the debate league, and he's definitely a solid debater. He's definitely a solid debater. He was I think that was season 2. He made a solid presence. He's very learned in a lot of the history of ancient Kemet. He's very well rounded. He has knowledge in especially Sunni Islam, and like I said, comparative religious studies. You can actually go into different texts and pose a threat in a lot of different philosophies. He's a person that has been in this thing for a while, and he's very well rounded in terms of how to present arguments and debate in this kind of setting. I think that one of the things that I think is a strong point is the fact that he has tough skin. He don't really, even when he loses, he don't really go off the deep end. You know, and he do be feeling some type of way about a couple of losses. I can tell he felt some type of way, but he don't really go on the deep end. And he's straight. He's a straight shooter. He's a straight shooter. You know. Yeah. He's a straight shooter. He's like I said, I think his strong point would be, you know, the history of ancient Kemet, and he's very well spoken. I think that you know, when he puts time and effort into his debate, he's definitely one of the top debaters in the league. He's definitely a contender. Yeah, so that's Sarah.
That's hard, yeah. And Domo ended with 979 points, total points, just to make that clear. Sar ended with 144. That's his premise round, under 44. I have to actually go. I got it on my desk. What was his? It's Sar and Ka. He had a power ranking of 109. 872. That's cool. But he also knows Good God Allah. You introduced him?
No, he just we had mutual friends.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, all right. That's what's up. But let's get to this brother right here, man. Last but not least, the Tanks, Anonymous Hebrew, man. Give us a breakdown of what we see. Expect to see it here, for him to
play. Yeah, Anonymous Hebrew, he was always a very thorough, solid debater. He definitely was a part of that whole season 1 fiasco with the Old Testament, New Testament thing that was going on. I think he's New Testament, right?
Yeah, his whole book, yeah.
So, you know, he definitely was a person that put time and effort into bringing out his points. He has a nice, strong delivery. His information is very thorough. Season 1, I think that, you know, he had to make some adjustments.
He went 0-8 in season 1, wasn't it? Or was that season
2? Season 1, he was I think he was undefeated. Yeah. I think he had 1 loss, right?
No, I think he went 0-8. I remember him saying that recently.
You mean 8-0?
Yeah, 8-0. Yeah, he didn't lose one.
Yeah, I thought he was undefeated. But yeah, he did his thing. I think he was ranked number 2 though. He was ranked number 2 from what I remember. And I think that was a developmental phase for him, for us in terms of understanding, the league, and I think after his loss with Claim, that it was something there for us, how he viewed the process and what was going on, and I would talk to him on a few occasions. Oh, he was 8-0. Okay. And I talked to him on a few occasions, even after the loss. He was kind of wary of whether he wanted to come back in season 2. And I think that at the same time, it was like a thing with South Showtime. That was kind of like, something that was kind of floating around at the time. In many ways, I was avoiding that, because the idea that I had, I didn't think that it would conflict in any way with what Sal was doing. But, looking at it in hindsight, a lot of the debaters that came over here that was Israelites was at some point in time debating over there. So I think that he once he became a part of became part of the league, he just kind of quickly ascended up there in season 1. We know that he had a lot of spiritual wins that year. I think that kind of played into had an impact in the upset with Claim. Because I think out of the debates out of the 8 debates, he maybe debated 5 of those debates. And and I think that those came kind of quickly. He had a lot of time to just sit back and Claim was debating consistently that year. And so he was definitely playoff ready. He ran into Claim, and I think that the judging at the time too, because I think it was a controversial decision with the Hebrew lawyer. He said, I thought that everybody was going to vote for you, so I'm going to touch it. And he said, yeah, so you don't do that, bro. Like, how you know, like, yeah, so, yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow for a person like Anonymous, because he puts a lot of time and effort into his information. So I could see how he could view the league like, what the fuck is these niggas doing? And I made them the judge, so I can't, at the time, like, go against, the decision that was already made. And so he had to kind of swallow the loss. I personally do think Clay won that debate, but
I remember that
for a Hebrew lawyer to say that, that's a tough pill to swallow.
That's right.
Yeah, that was just crazy. So I could see why it was an issue there. And people don't understand that this is recreation for me. A sister that I was talking to, that she was frequent on the channel, and we was actually talking, and she was like, "Yeah, you don't ever bring up the debate league." And I was like, "Nah, that's like, yeah, I don't." She more kind of came into a personal thing with me, so I'm like, yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's just like something that when I'm on the internet that I do. I don't really. That's not really what I do. This is like something that I do. Yeah, she was very surprised that I would never. Yeah, she was very surprised that I would never talk about it when we conversating.
That's like a girl like date Michael Jordan and you never talk about basketball, but the only reason she like him is because he's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, so yeah, it was like, she was like wondering why, like, you don't never talk about the debate. But yeah, so and people don't know that. People think that, maybe I'm like 24/7. And I do put a lot of time into it. Which I already know, videos and stuff like that. But, yeah, this is something that I do for recreational, it's not really. So when I come into this, people take it personal when I be doing shit, and I just be fucking with them. It's just like, and that's the thing with the religion and the religious, because I have my personal perspectives. I have personal things that I believe. And so that's all pushed to the side because we're just doing a recreational debate league,
I hope y'all hear that loud and clear, man. Shout out to Anonymous Hebrew, man, finishing with 964 total points with a power ranking of 120.
Yeah. I was gonna finish on Anonymous. So when I was talking to Anonymous, I think that he had to actually buy into that, and the way he actually left the playoffs that first year, it kind of left a stain a little bit, and so season 2, had to make amends, and we had to hold back and forth with Lex, with the personal shots and the death threats and all that type of stuff. And but he was able to eventually, get through that, and we was able to actually get him to debate a couple of times before he had to deal with business. So that is what prevented him from debating in season 2, and so he came back season 3, and it was a debate with Chris Harris, and from looking at it all now and putting this all together, and then he falls short to Chris Harris, is almost like it's a thing there, and So that turned into a situation, and it was all good. It was a little friction there because it was some subtle shots that was being thrown, you know, and we was able to get past that and move forward. So he came back and he did it again, like what he did in season one. This time he definitely took into consideration the the importance of the playoffs and what you have to do to win. He seemed to be very effective at that because it's going to be a hard road regardless in terms of competition. No matter what season it was, but especially this season, what he had to do to get to the playoffs and eventually get to where he's at now. He had to go through Minister Howe, I think Madon Kennett, and so definitely was a very challenging road for him to get to this point. And the story is yet to be completed with him, as far as in season 3. He has some more debating to do, so we'll see how that turns out for him.
Shout out to him, man. Come back to Beta of the Year. And a couple more points, man. How's the judging this year? We got Leah, the Chocolate Hebrew, Heru, Melvin, Yara, Consul, Nails, Sheikah. Anybody I'm leaving out? I think in Yama, was in Yama in jerseys?
Yeah, he judged.
Yeah. So how was the judging this
year? So the race probably will be judging at the date on the 14th.
Okay, that's hard. Shout out to Strat, man. He jumped on the stream the other day.
Judge Sam will be judging the debate on the 18th.
Shout out to Judge Sam.
Yeah, so we still got the judges, you know what I mean?
So the judges.
Yeah, I think that ultimately it was a good season, in terms of the judging, and the point system and how they, was able to score the points and things of that nature. And I think season 4 it's going to be the same 2-judge system. I think I'm going to involve myself a little more in the points. So it should be good. I think maybe I have one other judge along with myself doing a lot. And in times I may just have 2 judges. I'll just mix it up. I want to be involved in the points. I mean, the points because it was talked about keeping the records. You keep the records. So if the record's going to be there anyway, then the points, because the points is all about the awards, and in terms of who's going to win what. So if they're going to bring the records back, then I definitely want to be involved in the process with the just the points. If it's just about the awards, because I'm buying them motherfuckers.
I hear that, man. And season 4, because we, like you said, we are in the conference. We got 3 more debates, and this season be over. After these 2 debates, we will be in the finals. So let me get what everybody asked for. Let's get that prediction. Who you think gonna win it all this year?
The best debater.
There you go. Thank you. Hey, Solar's not gonna do a prediction, man, if y'all don't know, man. But that's cool. And season 4, man, where you see this thing going, man? What you got anything planned? I know you got the merge, the possible merge, or the judges system is sticking this, that, and the other, man. Where you see this going in the next couple of seasons, man? What you got any like aspirations for it? Or you just like looking to see how it grow and evolve and just then pay attention to that which needs that attention?
Yeah, and this is going back to my last point. People think that I do this because I want the channel to blow up and be bigger than Young Pharaoh's channel.
Yeah, he ain't got no channel no more.
I know, but I'm just saying in terms of, they think that those are my aspirations. They're like, okay, yeah, he wants this channel. So people say, yeah, well, if you want to grow your channel, you should do this. And well, you got these guys on here and they talking and, they having casual conversations and this and that. And people are always suggesting, they don't know that this is recreation. I just like to see debates. I like debates. I don't care if the channel don't grow. And I want the channel to grow. Don't get it twisted. I do want the channel to grow.
It just is what
but it is what it is. It's not like something that I'm like, that's the top priority. Because if it was, I would have kept Gorilla Hebrew and, did some fuck shit to the rest of you niggas and kept, all the people that brings in the, you know how many people that brought in people that we fell out with because of something that happened with a person that didn't have nobody. Like that Gorilla Hebrew was thinking about like Rob Rack. Rob Rack don't really have people watching him like Gorilla Hebrew. Like so it was just like that. I just felt as though that this is just the nature of the league. I'm like, yo, he was doing that the whole season, bro. Why you it was other people, Bishop Eliyahu, even the with Lord Abba, and then the chicken bucket debate with
Brother Day,
Taharka Bay, yeah. I mean, those people that actually could bring in, they got working channels, and they get a lot of people watching them. So it's not about the growing the channel. Yes, I want the channel to grow, but under how I do things over here. And this is a debate league that developed from what's it like we were saying, like with the Imam Bashir situation, and like you just want to give people like a perspective in a sense. They get their points out, and at the same time, we can have a little fun with the stats and all that, and make it into something that's organized and something that people could look forward to seeing. But me trying to be like the biggest channels, I think more in line with what the debaters want, as opposed to what I want personally. I'm more concerned about the debaters being comfortable with how things are judged, and them being enthused about what's going on in the league, and all the things that is being done to make the debating more fun. That's what I focus in on more, than actually worrying about the growth of the channel. So and if the channel grow as a result of that, then okay, that's fine. But when people focus too much on the aspect of blowing up, it comes with a lot of compromises. I see in life that it comes with a lot of compromises. That's the number one priority. Absolutely. Like the number one priority, then that will come with a lot of compromises, and that's not what I designed the league for. I designed it just to have a lot of people, because it gets political when you're talking about media and who you're going to have on your channel. It gets very political on a lot of platforms, so I wanted to give everybody a voice. You can do their thing. We can have fun at the same time. Information can be presented, and so that's the goal. That's the goal. And yeah, we can have fun, and the more the merrier. The more views, and the better. Definitely. But that's not the top priority.
That's fine. Well, anything else you want to touch on, man? I have nothing else, man.
No, I mean, it was it's about the interview. I don't really have nothing. Okay. I can just respond to the question and answer. But definitely was a good interview.
Appreciate that. Yeah, man. Make sure y'all come over to Solar Vision Debate League. I know pretty much everybody right now listening is cool, but no matter when you hear this, man, just check the channel out. Solar Vision Debate League, man. Give it up for the commissioner, man. Solarmind, man. I appreciate the brother for coming through and being so transparent. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, big bro. And we will be rocking out, man. I don't know if I'm coming right back on, or I might just start a panel for y'all to talk. But yeah, man, I'm kind of whooped and I'm getting ready for this trip. So yeah, once again, shout out to Solarmind, man, the Commissioner Solar Vision Debate League, man. This is the Argument League, man. Black Power, and we are out.
Peace.
Peace. Appreciate you, people.